Hello and welcome to the Moodle custom report with DML API and Chart.js. We also be part of this training module. They will also be using the DML API and Chart API as opposed to Chart.js. But this is a very robust module. It's on purpose because it's part of the journey plan towards our data analytics reporting software complete with AI. So we have reached a major milestone. It will incorporate all of the technologies we've learned so far, from PHP to SQL, MySQL to JavaScript to the Moodle APIs we've learned so far. Cover all of it and wrap it all up into a reporting software that would aggregate scores of users in a very neat and nice way that we can work with it in the future. So let's get started. Once again, this is a short video tutorial, part of a video series by Debonair Training, authored by myself. I'll be your tutor. My name is Gregory Ekato. I'm the CEO and the CTO of Debonair Training. So let's go to the beginning, the concept. So okay, here we are. Essentially, this script would generate, just like I said, a report displaying the best, worst, and average cost scores of users presented in tables and visualized as charts using Chart.js, all organized within tabs. So we'll be integrating quite a few of the APIs we have learned so far: DML API, Charts API, Page API, String API, Access API, and as a matter of fact, some parts of the Navigation API. Navigation API we have not yet covered in detail, so I'll just say that in advance. The lesson table of contents or menu will be the concept which I've just done, and an introduction to what we're really going to do, the syntax of how we're going to do it, a demo problem and a solution, which is customary with our training series, which will allow you to actually begin to scaffold your knowledge and gain from the technology of imparting. Within that, we'll be going to sections which will display the table data and the chart in tabs. And then custom report 2, we're going to have a second version, which is another way of using Moodle Chart API. And then we have the summary. Now, this video series, this part of the video series is actually going to be broken up into about 4 parts. You will see the parts as we go along. 2 of them will be for the custom report 1, and the other 2 will be custom report 2 and wrapping up. So let's get started with the introduction now. So high level overview of what we're going to do. Okay, so this script, which is the PHP script, performs the following main actions. It sets up the Moodle page, includes the necessary Moodle libraries, defines page properties, the URL, context, title, heading, and loads CSS and JavaScript files. That's the first part. If you want to segment what we're doing, that's the first part. The second part is fetching the data for the Moodle database, executes an SQL query to retrieve user information, cost details, final grades, and timestamp of the grade modification. The third part will be processing the data. It identifies unique user cost date records to avoid duplicates, categories records into best scores and worst scores, and lists. Calculates the average score for each user across all their courses. Source the best, worst, and average score list based on the score value. The fourth part is displays the data. Defines a function display table to render an HTML table unprovided records and embed a chart.js canvas for visualization. It uses JavaScript within the display table function to pass data to chart_render.js for chart rendering. Now it then organizes best, worst, and average score tables and charts into separate tables using HTML and tabs.js scripts. Of course, the last part will be outputting everything, outputting the page, including the Moodle header and footer. So that's the introduction of what we're going to be doing. So let's go on to the next part, which is syntax. So for the purpose of developing a custom pop, we will mainly be using DML API and chart.js. So this is for the first part, right? Note, we have covered the syntax for each of these APIs in their respective courses. Nevertheless, for more efficient learning, here's a quick rundown of the basic syntax for some commonly used functions within each of these pertinent Moodle APIs. So we've already done this with the DML API. If you recall the DB get records, for getting multiple record, DB get records with an S, and fetching record using an SQL query, DB get records _SQL, setting records, setting new records. We use this particular format for doing that, which you probably already very familiar with from SQL, but Moodle has its own way of doing it, and that's why we call it the DML API, data manipulation API. Okay, so and therefore updating the same thing or similarly and deleting similarly too. Now for the chart API, which you're not familiar with at all yet, but now you are going to be familiar with it. Moodle has its own chart API, which will be implementing to produce the same report later. However, it can be restrictive, hence the more robust lesson, hence this more robust lesson to start with. This more robust version integrates with JavaScript charting libraries. The typical JavaScript JS syntax for chart is as such. Okay, so typically this is what happens. You require your page requires JS PHP to prepare the data. Then you echo the canvas, echo the data, the labels, and essentially this is what happens. This is the syntax to use. We'll be using this. We'll also be using and playing around with it because we'll be restrictive as well, because we're using tabs. And how to get around this, I'll show you, just in case you're doing something similar if you're already a Moodle developer. The key is using page requires JS. So include this library and then using JavaScript syntax specific to that library, like new chart for JS, for chart.js to render the chat with data passed from PHP using JSON underscore encode. Then with page API, again, we're just rounding up here. we're just summarizing what we're going to be, the API we're going to be using. You're already familiar with this, but you can always come back here if you trying to recall what we did. The same thing with string and access. Okay, so okay, that, and then navigation API, which we've not really covered, but here this gives you an idea of what we are really trying to do. So navigation, so page navigation, adding a node to the navigation. This is how it's added. Adding a child to an existing node, like so. Getting the settings navigation objects. This is the way settings nav. And adding a node to the settings navigation. Okay, so we could be referencing this, and you most definitely will be referencing this short part here, this tip for you while trying to get around the APIs. This gives you a basic idea of the syntax for common operations within these Moodle APIs. Remember to consult official Moodle developer documentation for more detailed information and advanced usage. So let's go to the demo problem. So the demo problem is to make a student's report using Moodle DML, that's data manipulation API, consisting of the rows ID, name, course, score, and date. Number one, it should exclude duplicate records. Number two, it should be clickable from the menu panel. The result should be displayed in different tabs made up of best scores, worst scores, average scores, and linked to click in from the panel. The best scores should be in descending order. Number three, in the second tab, it should display worst scores in ascending order. In the third tab, it will display average scores per course. And in the fifth, number five, each tab would have the representative chart of the results displayed. So we're going to use the software development plan to produce this. The SDLC, which stands for Software Development Cycle. So as with all development projects, the life cycle starts with planning. So let's do that to give us clarity on how to produce this custom report. So the development plan we got now is the Moodle meta code. In other words, number one, Moodle meta code, the copyright, package declaration, setting up page, and fetching data. So we need to get all of that in the first part of our file, right? So yeah, we get that in the first part of our file. Then we get the unique records, categorizing the scores and sorting the scores. Number three, we have the table data, so we develop the table data and the chart function. And number four, we display data in tabs using inline.js and tabs.js. So this development plan, we're going to try and do 1 and 2, or at least 1 in the first video. But we should be able to get 1 and 2, and then 3, probably some part of 4, we'll get in the second video, and everything else we will put in the third video, because you do recall we have 2 different type of charts we want to do. So because of that, number 3 will probably go. Number 3 will go in the second video. Number 4 will go in the third video. Okay, and then whatever else goes extra. All right. So this is what the report looks like right now. This is what it looks like. So using the first type of charts, this is what it looks like. You remember when we created Moodle, populated with data, dummy data. This is the dummy data for students or users, and this is the chart we got from it. When we finish it, this is what it will look like. So remember, we're working towards some learning data analytics, which will be consumed with AI later. So let's fire up our favorite IDE. I will be using VS Code, and we want to get. I use VS Code because it's more immersive for learning. So yeah, do that and go along with me, code along with me as we go. Then as shown in this accompanying video in the following stages. Okay, so in our first step, we'll be creating this custom report as a local plugin. So in the local folder, create a new directory. So what I'm going to do is go back to the screen that I had before, split screen, so we can. So what we're going to do is I'm going to create a new plugin. Okay, so in our first step, we'll be creating this custom report as a local plugin. So in the local folder, create a new directory, naming it what you want. So I called my DML report. Okay, so I'm going to leave DML report there, but I'm going to create something else. I'm going to call my DML reporting, just so we can compare, contrast code, because the chances are we may have some errors, we may do things a little bit differently, and definitely if we call it the same name, there will be errors, too many errors. So to avoid all of that, um, we're going to call it something else. But once again, to get the full code of this, you will need to be subscribed to, or rather registered with Debonair Training in our learning management system and enrolled for the course. Um, but um, but you can follow along using the YouTube video if you're already an existing programmer, you're familiar with Moodle. And of course, if you have better ways of doing things, because there are always uh, newly developed ways of doing things that may be better, feel free to comment in the comment section. And don't forget to share and subscribe for more participation. Okay, so I will call, okay, yeah. In the boilerplate, information copy or Moodle files, you can copy and paste from existing plugins. The name to local plugin DML report will be stated in the commented out section. Commented out package information for reference. So thus far, this is what your code should look like. But okay, so what we're going to do is create a new folder here. We've already done all of this. We know how to create new folders in VS Code. I don't know what ID you're using. Just create a new folder um, at the same level directly under local, which is in your Moodle directory. Okay, your core Moodle directory. So I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call my DML reporting. Okay, so that's done, and inside that it says okay, yeah, inside that create an index file. So inside that, I'm going to create an index file. Okay, so now we create index. So right click there in the index.php. Okay, we got that one now. So click on index. Okay, sorry there. So for space, we just do that. And what we're gonna do, actually, we're gonna get the boilerplate one from. We're gonna get a boilerplate from. Let's get it from HTML demo. No, yeah, let's get it from there. But no, let's get it from DML report. So index. So we've got a boilerplate there. So we just put all of that in there straight away. So just paste there. So that's the boilerplate. And then what I mentioned says change, the copy or paste, and then the name local will be stated in the package information. So here we put reporting instead. So DML reporting, and that's done. Okay. So what we need now is to set up the page. Okay, so set up the page as it says here. We need to put in the required ones for the config file, right? So let's type that one real quick. So require once. And then config the PHP. So we got that in there. Close that up. So that's set up. This includes all the setup information, including server. Okay, server module data, everything else that is needed. Then we need to put the table lib.php also require once. So what we do, we just copy that. Right. So the next one is the lib require once lib directory. So let's just copy that one there to save time and just paste it in there. And the next one after that one is require once admin lib. This includes the core module library for admin development. Okay, the previous one was for table development, this one is for admin development. So paste that in there. So we got all of that. And then require login. This is where the access API comes in. This is part of the access API functions we have already covered in previous lessons that give a layer of security. Okay, so we add that one in there. For tidiness of the code, it's better if you add a space there. So give it a space and paste that one. And then require capability. Now this one is important. I'm going to type it so that you understand as we go along why it is important. Okay, so require capability. Require capability essentially what it's about is check to see if the current logged in user can view reports at the site level. So you're stating this is the first part, which is Moodle site view reports, is showing what you really want to be viewed. So this is stating the level that is required for the capability required has to be able to view reports, and the context of context instance method is what's used. So we put a comma after there. So we say context system class. Well, we're using the context system class, and we are now creating an instance, or we are now establishing an instance of it to check if you can view the reports at the site level. The logged in user can view it. So, and then, okay, so that's that. And that should be okay. So once again, it's checked to see if the current logged in user can view reports at the site level. So you close that off. First of all, that needs to be closed up too. And then this one closed off. Okay, So that's that one. So that's part of Access API that we've already covered before. Okay, so now the page API, we're now going to the page API to set up the page. Now we've already covered page API. We know what exactly happens there. So we just copy all of that and then delete what we don't need, which is the comment for now, because the comment is what I'm telling you about. So the page set, the context. Wait a minute, what we missed out some parts here. So got all of that now in there. So page set URL. So we now change that to reporting. And again, this part of it is following the Moodle API. We will set the URL to the page. Let's make that wider so we can see it. So set that page global variable, and we set the context system here, and then here the context. Okay, then the nav add get string. This is where the navigation API comes in. Add a string report title from the language string declaration, which we're going to specify. We haven't yet done the language string. Okay, and then the page set title get string. Again, we're just calling a report title, give it the same name so that we can find it and call it later from the string from the string where the strings are going to be located in there under this folder soon in the language file. And the heading as well, we're going to set that. Okay, so that's all setting up the page using the page API, which we know this is for set up the access API. So this is the first part of the video we're going to do. Let's go back to, okay, let's go back. So this is we don't want this video to be too long, so we're going to share into 4 places. So let's look at where we are now. My apologies for this. I'm holding a series of meetings at the same time. So okay, so yeah, so that's it for this one for now. We're gonna have to wrap it up. So we leave it for this quarter of the tutorial, short video tutorial. And what we now do is summarize what we've done. Is we've essentially just gone through what we the process of creating a report, and then started coding it, developing it after going through the stages. And what we've done is put in the boilerplate and set up the connections with the config connections, then the access API, then the page API. All these are very necessary for every Moodle page. So I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, if you have any comments, make sure to comment down below, just if you're using the YouTube video, and don't forget to like and share, as well as subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Otherwise, if you're not yet a student of Debonair Training LMS, then join, register, and then we will enroll you for the course as long as you fulfill our conditions. We do have some special conditions for free access to our training courses. So I will see you in the next one. Thank you for joining us and expressing interest in this course.